Tyree Miles and Mr. Miles the Writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up! Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monny when he rants about his staff.
I agree. Can you come on. I told you stop touching that button. Why is it so loud? God. Did you turn one all the way up again? Do I have to come in there? God damn her. If it was going right, I would let you do your part.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio. I am your co-host, HullyWood. How y'all doing out there? Well. It's been a good week for everybody. I pray that it has been. Today was it was a good week for me, challenging week, but I made it to Friday, and that's the blessing of all. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thankful that I actually made it here. How was your week, Nate?
It was a week.
Right.
So we're here live, back on another Friday. First of all, I'd like to say, thank you to everybody who was sharing out a post that I made this weekend. My little cousin was going through some issues, and he ran away, and we could not find him. Because of all the posts and such, we were able to locate him. So I thank you, and I didn't realize how many people were sharing it out till I had to go back and tell each one of them that they could take the post down. But I really appreciated his mom and definitely him. We found him in Hanlon Park off of Glens Falls. Wow. So, so just talk to your children. Try to prevent things like this from happening. You can't always control how things go in life, but try your best.
Yeah.
Children just want attention, and sometimes we forget that. Yeah. It's just that simple.
I don't know what I would do. My kids wander off, man. I'll probably spaz, flip. I don't know. I know that's a wearing thing right there on a woman, on a mother's heart, or any parent's heart actually that cares for their children.
I mean, it happens. So we have to. Oh, that's my ghetto phone. So today's sponsor, this month's sponsor we're being sponsored by the Peel Center. It's located right around the street on Holiday Street, across from the City Hall, next to Real News Network and such. And to be more specific, today they started their full week workshop series with high school age children. Say it like it is. Hashtag say it like it is. If you go to our radio show page or our Artist Exchange page on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or my personal page, Nate VashtiBlue Couser, you can find the information there. Or you can go to thepeelcenter.org/say it like it is, and there's a form that you have to fill out. As long as your child is in high school or high school age, they can come be a part of it. I believe there's a stipend involved with it, and it's about them telling their story. So definitely go after that. They have another program that's coming on the 16th, but I'll give that in the next break. So it is the Pill Center. Say It Like It Is. It's sponsoring. It's holding the event. Say It Like It Is. So you can go to the pillcenter.org. That's PEAL center.org / Say It Like It Is, and get more information on that. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, thank you. Appreciate it. But we want you to share it out. Let your friends know what's going on here. Let them know we're having a great conversation. Today is going to be a little interesting. We're supposed to have a phone call at the top of the hour, but we're going to save that call for the second hour. And we'll have Mr. Raquis Damonn Petree. He's a native from the DMV area, but he now lives in California. And he had something happen to him this past week. He's been working on a project based on the movie, an adaptation from the movie Set It Off, and he created this. It's been around for about 10 years. He's did the stage play of it a few times. That's how I actually met him. He came on the show and was promoting it. And the producer that he had took the play, and while they were working on it, got the rights to it and got the rights to the movie. They were in touch with the actual writer of the movie, right? And now they are producing the play, and I believe it's starring the Brat. So
they stole it from him?
They stole his concept, yes.
Wow.
And we're going to talk to Raquis when we in the second hour. So he's going to come on in the second hour, and we're going to talk to him, and he's going to tell his story. It's been a lot of stuff. We had the flyer on our page, but it's been sharing out because this is something that he's been connected with. He's worked with a lot of industry individuals and such, and he just wanted his due justice. Like, how do you... The guy was actually his producer, and they've been talking up into this month about the show opening up in March. Right. And communication was cut short, and he's stayed in communication with people that was helping him. Right. And he helped put this together, and he's just taking it and moving it towards. So we're going to hear his side of the story when we come back in the second hour. But we're going to talk a little bit about, one, if you did not see it, the Queen's Court, they had some technical difficulties while attempting to interview Monique, and Kaya walked out because they had some technical difficulties. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later in this hour. We're also going to talk about our topic of the day, which is getting your business in order. And it kind of... I actually had the topic, and then I booked the guest, and it kind of all is included. Right. We're going to discuss a little bit about intellectual property, the importance of contracts, getting things in writing. So when things like this happen, you're in line. And part of what Raquis did not do yet was he didn't get any, like, a contract. Right. So it was a verbal agreement between the two of them, and that can stand up if he can show proof that they were doing it together. But we're going to talk about all that. I had an awesome conversation with him earlier today. We talked on the phone for almost 2 hours, and we kind of got a lot of the questions out because I remember how passionate he was when he last was on the show almost 2 years ago now. He was talking to us on an ArtistExchange show, and it really just set me back a lot just to hear like something that happens to him. You know, current projects that I'm working on. Just like I said at the end of last year, everything has to be in writing. Right. I don't care who you are. If me and my mother are working together and there's money to be made, there needs to be a contract. Right. Because something can happen to me, something can happen to her.
Or someone can try to screw you over and then take everything, all the credit you've done and all the hard work and time you put into it.
And most times people hear dollar signs. They see dollar signs, and that make people go a little off the rail of even their everyday personality. It just
makes them act evil, for real, to be honest. Like, once people see the money and they, like you said, they see dollar signs, and they thinking about the big bucks, and then that's when they start having that selfish thought. Like, oh yeah, I can get this, let me do this before he do it, and next thing you know.
So we'll be talking about that later in this hour, and then of course when we're interviewing Raquis. But I did a series, the first episode of a series for my friend Tracy Jacobs, and we were talking about toxic masculinity, what it is to be a black man, what it is to be a man, homophobia, all that. And this gentleman, and I can't remember his name, he was the last one to get there. He was a part of the taping, and he said, "What is your number?" Now, it made me laugh because we were talking about homophobia and the idea that there's a gay agenda. But for me, there's no more of a gay agenda than there is a woman's rights agenda, than there's a Latino, Hispanic, Mexican agenda, than there is a, alien, purple, short, fat, tall agenda. Right. When someone is being marginalized and discredited and their voice is being shut off, they want to speak out. Part of that, when that happens, then they grow in numbers. So their support, so that group that is now the minority grows and gets allies. So those allies join those minorities and they grow in numbers. So of course, with the numbers, great numbers, comes power. Right. So when you have power, I'm able to voice my opinion. I'm able to put it on different platforms bigger than what I initially had. So it looks like somebody's pushing who they are on you. People are tired of not being heard. And his statement was, "What's your number?" And he was speaking on terms of how many times do you need to see something gay in the media or on TV or on the screen or in life where you feel like it's an agenda against you. How many times do you need to see it before you turn gay? Right. Well, he used another term. He said, how many times do you need to see something gay on TV before you decide to suck a dick? Now, I'm not, going against that, but do y'all have numbers? Do you have a number? Like, do you have a number, Damonn? He gonna act like he not hearing me. Do you have a number, Eric? Is there a number for you? Do you believe that there's a number? Call in 410-702-5657. Like, how many times do you need to see something gay? Or how many times do you need to hear a woman before you turn into a woman? Or how many times do you need to hear something Hispanic or Latino before you turn into somebody Hispanic or Latino? Like, what is your number?
You shouldn't turn it off.
Well, I'm just saying, the idea is, he was being facetious when he said it, but the idea of how can there possibly be an agenda? Because if there's an agenda, that means if you see this enough, then you gay. That in your mind, the way people are throwing it out there, right. If you see this enough, then you gonna turn gay, and that's what they're saying. That's what they're putting on children. But he threw it around on adults. Like, how many times does an adult male have to see something before they turn gay? Like, it's an interesting question because it kind of eliminates the argument altogether that there's a gay agenda in the world. It will if you throw it out there. And that's going to be my new question whenever I hear something like that or hear somebody talking about it. That's going to be my question. I'm going to write it on Facebook pages. I'm going to say it in arguments, in person, all that. Just to shut people up because people really feel like that there's a agenda out there. So, y'all don't have numbers. Y'all don't act like y'all don't have numbers. Okay.
Got a caller?
Is a caller?
Yeah, we do. We have a caller.
Hey, caller, how's it going? Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Hello?
Hello.
How's it going?
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Can you hear us?
Hey, I was trying to, this is Lucky. I was trying to call in for the conversation.
Sure. You have something to say, something to add to the conversation?
Well, I personally feel like there's a lot of agendas, and these things have been, people have been capitalizing on this, I feel, for the longest time, through TV shows, through music, and what's crazy now is a lot of this is starting to happen in cartoons as well.
Right.
And that's something that definitely didn't used to happen back in the days of the Magic School Bus and Carmen Sandiego and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
It was there. Like, if we go back and look at things, there's things that we could be like, as adults looking at it now, like, oh, that's a little questionable. But are we confusing an agenda with, are we confusing marketing or branding with an agenda? Like promotion of a specific thing that I'm creating that I can filter through this other third-party creative or media outlet?
I think it's really pretty much a thing that deals with mental strength.
Right.
Because you're going to be faced with all types of negativity out here. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter if you watch TV or just listen to the radio. It's going to hit you eventually.
Right. Do you feel like that there's an agenda, like specifically to turn you gay or to make you a feminist or to make you Latino? Do you feel like that there's an agenda?
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, and that deals a lot with culture vultures too.
Right. Right. You
got people out here that watch black people or people of an ethnic background, period, and just want to dance like them, want to dress like them, want to be the same shade as them, even though they're not going to ever get to that shade, you know, or if they would have to go to the extremes to get to that shade or to get their hair the way that our hair is because their hair isn't the way ours is, or, you know, there's always that factor to it. But, you know, yeah, I believe that happens on all levels, and if in
terms of like homosexuality or being black or the Black Lives Matter or the Me Too, so you feel as though those groups of individuals are saying, I want you to be this, and they're pushing it on you. Do you see it? Could it possibly be that they just want to be heard and they want to be counted and they want to be taken seriously opposed to me pushing what I want on you?
Yeah, now I do understand that. I do understand that there is a need for these different groups to want to be heard and everything like that. And there are different platforms that are arising for that situation right now. But at the same time, I don't feel like everybody has to just uproot who they are or what they believe in, and you know, like completely forget the norm. Like, I think the norm is
but what does the norm mean? So let's just speak in terms of like homophobia. So is the norm to be straight or the norm to be who you are, just to be a human being, and everything else is just secondary to who you are, like physically who you are?
Yeah, well, this subject in itself makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable. So it's not a lot of people that will have an open conversation about it.
Well, with the lack of conversation about it, people are pushed off to the side. And because people are pushed off to the side, they feel like they're not being heard. And it's not that they don't feel like they're being heard. The whole idea of the Me Too movement is, you told me for years to shut up and just lay down and take it. And people are tired of that. So I think part of what is the misunderstanding is there's an agenda for Pepsi to sell Pepsi. There's an agenda for basketball video games to be sold, Y2K or whatever that is. That's an agenda. That's propaganda. That's promotion. That's marketing. But when a body of physical people say I'm not being heard or you're discriminating against me, that's not an agenda. That's me saying I need enough people that support me to say I shouldn't be mistreated anymore. I don't believe that that's an agenda.
Well, I can agree with you on that. That's not an agenda. I meant if you misunderstood me, then I apologize. But I meant like, the things I was looking at as an agenda are those people that constantly posting stuff on their pages or putting stuff out when they videos and stuff like that about their ways of life and how they want everybody else to pretty much adapt it in. Or you start slowly but surely seeing people adapt that into their, you know, their everyday life.
I can't force you. I can't force a straight black man, and it's gonna get a little rough in terms of language, but I can't force a straight black man to take a penis. I can't do that. I can't force you to do it unless I'm raping you, because then that's against the law at that point. But if somebody, and you know, even not talking about specifically that, but I can't encourage you to do something that you didn't already want to do. If this is if I feel like I'm not being heard now, I have a problem with people not feeling like they being heard. That's a problem there. Or somebody wanting to feel comfortable with themselves, so they push it off on other people. I understand that aspect of it, but then that means that there's something wrong. Like somebody feels as though who they are isn't good enough for you. So I have to encourage you to respect who I am. At the end of the day, it's just somebody wanting respect for who they are. And because you don't believe like I believe, it doesn't mean that I should be quiet or I should push it off to the side. Now, I understand what you're saying. There are people out there that are pushing the actual agenda, that are making somebody's sexuality commercial. And they're people who not even a part of that community are now pushing it because it's something popular. But that's what happens. You know, when a popular song or a popular artist gets to a certain level, people begin to use their music, their words, their likeness, their image, the idea of who they are to sell whatever they're selling. Now, they are the problem, not the group of people that represent whatever that topic is or whatever that industry is. The people who are commercializing off of those people are the problem. Yeah. So, sir, tell me what your name is. Did he hang up?
I don't think he did.
No, I'm still here. You just going in and out. My bad.
So, what was your name?
My name's Lucky.
Lucky? I would love to have you in. Are you in the DMV or are you outside of the area?
Yeah. I actually know Damonn. That's one of the reasons why I called it.
We would love to have you on, discuss some. We often have hot topic days. So, Damonn, he has your information. We'll schedule some days and see when you can come in or talk further with us.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So thank you, sir, Mr. Lucky. Appreciate you calling in.
All right, man. Y'all have a great night.
You too.
You do the same, bro.
So I'm pretty passionate about my opinions and what I feel, if you didn't catch hold of that. But for me, the idea of somebody pushing themselves on the people who feel like something is being pushed on them, you're not listening to people who want to be heard. You may not agree with them.
We have another caller.
Go ahead. Hello, caller. How's it going? Thanks for calling the ArtistExchange.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi, how you doing? My name is Richard, and I actually want to chime in for the conversation.
Hey, Richard. So what you got to say, Richard?
Well, basically, I wanted to actually express myself in the aspect of this entire topic, in the aspect of how everybody is saying that they may be an agenda or this may be a marketing thing. Mm-hmm. Me personally, I feel as though it's more so of a monkey see, monkey do type thing.
Right.
Because I remember at a time where, especially when being being a homosexual, I remember at one point it used to be so secluded, and then a lot of people saw that it was a problem. But then as the years started to transition, those that you would see that were straight, overnight they became homosexual. So it was, to me, it just became like it was a phase. Did they become
homosexual, or they just showed
I feel that it was more so like basically a trend.
Right.
To me, that's what it basically was, because it was like, the most straightest person that would say, oh, no, I could never do the type of things that y'all do. All of a sudden, a year later or, a couple of months later, they were gay or they were in the lifestyle, or, how people like to put them in the whole DL category. And I feel as though that, like I said, it could be like a monkey see, monkey do type thing. As far as like the entertainment world, I don't think as much as them trying to enforce it into people. Yes, a lot of people now see drag shows like RuPaul's Drag Race. Yes, there's a lot of topic about transitioning and stuff like that. Personally, I feel as though when it comes to numbers, like you were saying earlier, I felt as though that maybe it's like, for me, it'd be like 5 times that I have to see something. Because I myself lost myself in that type of thing. Because I was seeing so much about drag and transition that at one point I lost myself as a person and wanted to actually venture into that. So it's like,
but is that what you wanted to do, or it was just the fact that seeing it made you comfortable with exploring that part of yourself?
It was more so about me following it and me trying to see if I can please somebody else with it. It wasn't more so about me wanting it to do it per se.
So the advertisement, the overemphasizing of it, the overexposure of it made you comfortable trying something new.
It got me to the point more so about like, okay, well, I was actually battling low self-esteem. And when I was seeing what it was to be so glamorous and all this other stuff, like I said, it just like kept on playing within my head. And at the same time, I was going through something with my own personal life and my own relationship. The person I was dating, I found out that they were into trans women. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not getting the attention you used to give me. Maybe I should transfer that. And then I started watching shows, and I'm like, wow, how it really comes into play and with my mind. So it's just like, it just blew me away. So basically, I was following into that whole monkey see, monkey do aspect.
So we about to go to a quick break, but before we go, I'm asking you, so was it more so your insecurity that led you to do that, or are you blaming the overexposure of that culture that did it?
I think more so it was more so of the exposure of it, because nowadays it's like it's a constant thing of how shows repetitively have one concept. And then it's like the lifestyle that we're living in nowadays and how everybody expresses themselves and how everything is so out in the open. Like nothing is closeted anymore. Nothing is private anymore. Everything is out and open.
But is that a problem? Because that was a time when all that stuff was closed off and people weren't able to express themselves and feel comfortable at least exploring something or trying something. Now, I'm not telling nobody to go out and be gay or be Latino or be a woman or whatever your isolation is or your voiceless thing is. I'm telling you to don't equate this to somebody selling potato chips. This is an actual living, breathing human being that felt like they were being closeted, that they felt like they were being shut up and shut off. And they grew enough power. When you have enough money, you can get your viewpoint across, you know, without it being quiet or somebody telling you to shut up. But just like you can turn off a potato chip commercial, you can turn off that TV show. But your insecurities are feeding that interest. Whether you want to be that thing or not, whether I want that potato chip or not, that commercial made that chip look really good. So if I don't want 5 extra pounds because I just ate 5 bags of potato chips, I got to cut that commercial off. But we got to stop blaming other people the same way they did with gangster rap. And we got to stop blaming people for our own insecurities. What's your name, brother?
Oh, my name is Richard.
Richard, thank you for calling. Please stay tuned. Stay locked in. We got to go to a commercial break. Stay locked in. I want you to chime in whenever I say something that you don't like or when you want to get your viewpoint across. But I appreciate you calling in.
Oh, no, most definitely. Like I said, I watch our show. I'm a personal close friend of Damonn, and I've always supported the show ever since, you guys started coming on and stuff like that. But I was so intrigued by this topic that I actually had to come and call in.
The advertisement of it intrigued you, so you fell into the trap, sir.
Like I said, it happened.
So there we go. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BigExposedRadio.com.
Y'all have a good evening.
What's up, guys? It's Shepsworth Bentley, and you are tuning in right now, live to Homegrown Radio, every Sunday, 7 to 8 p.m. on BigExposedRadio.com. Wow, that was a nice little introduction.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monny when he rants about his staff.
I agree. Can you come on? I told you stop touching that button. Why is it so loud? God. Did you turn one all the way up again? Do I have to come in there? God damn her. If it was going right, I would let you do your part, but I'm sorry, but it's just not functioning the way it's supposed to be. You're live on the air. I told you mind your business.
Well, Monty, if I can comment on the Jennifer Holiday situation, I can.
I know I'm live on the air. I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay. I know I'm live on the air. This is why this whole show is called Talk Lately. Anyway, let's get back to every Tuesday at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Thank you very much.
Because they had nothing else to do.
So it was like, imagine that your late husband was actually your father. I can't imagine that.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
My name is Ruth Rusey. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live united. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusey. I help kids prepare to succeed in school.
So I don't just wear the shirt. BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange radio show.
What does hustle hard mean to you? What does that signify in your life?
That's a lifestyle for me. You know what I mean? Like, true story. I was born into a family in a community of hustlers. Now let's get focused right quick, because when people hear the word hustler, they confuse it with con artists or something negative. So they like to call people entrepreneurs, right? But the definition, and I'm paraphrasing, but the definition of hustle is forced movement or to be hurried, right? But we're not talking about just pushing other people. Sometimes you got to push yourself, and that what makes you a hustler. True story. So the thing about it is, like, when it comes to hustling, listen, quick story. I used to go buy juleps a lot, right? And my grandmother used to make me clean the yard, shovel snow, do things like that to go get a julep. But one day she was like, look, you putting all your money in someone else's pocket. Word. Save those quarters, and I can teach you how to make a formula, and you can sell your own juleps. You understand? So the next couple weeks, I saved my money.
Always a hustler.
Listen,
got to love
but think
everybody
about
got
this.
a grandma's story like that.
Grandmothers are the natural hustlers because they were the ones who maintained and sustained our families through epidemics. You're talking, Big Mama went through slavery and held it.
Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. It's me, your host, Nate, and I have my co-host with me, Mr. Damonn.
HullyWood, how y'all doing out there? It's a lovely Friday.
And joining us now is Mrs.
Ashmiá Mac.
I don't want to put no bodies on nobody.
Oh, yeah, let me switch this ring here. I can see how they, gave out the wrong impression.
That's why I said that's a big rock.
No.
So welcome in. So I guess we got a interesting start to the day. We were talking about agenda. So what is your number? And I'm going to throw that out there to people. And I understand because, we had two different types of individuals call in, and they were from two different sides of the idea of homophobia or the gay agenda. And for me, I'm going to start that argument. I'm going to shut people down all the time. So what is your number? How many times do you need to see something gay on TV before you gay? Like, how many times do you personally need to see something gay on TV or in a movie or what have you before you decide that I'm gay? It's not a trick question.
It sounds like it. Like
it is a trick question.
Like if someone said like none, like what? Then
so it cancels out your argument. So there's no agenda. They're not selling potato chips. They're not trying to get you to eat the latest XYZ or buy this car. They're human beings who don't feel as though they're being heard. So they got a little power behind them, a little money behind them, a little influence behind them. So now they're able to push their viewpoint, their perspective onto a body of listeners. I think is irresponsible when you allow your children to watch anything, and you're not. My mother knew what I was watching.
Right, and not mindful of what you watch. Like,
right, stop blaming stuff on
don't
people.
Have your kids watching certain stuff, you know.
Or you can change the channel. You're glued, so I think you're interested. That's why you still watching that TV show.
I think there's layers to this. You mean to tell me that you wouldn't let, hypothetically, let's just say I'm gay, okay? I'm gay, but I shouldn't let my child watch gay things on television. How am I going to make sense of that to them?
If you're not comfortable talking to your child and you're blaming the media for making your child gay, then that's where the problem is.
I mean,
it's not even just about media.
I mean, even if that's a person's personal preference, why expose your children to that? You know what I'm saying? At an early age.
So they know, like, children are smarter than what they give children credit for. And when we hide things from them, it makes them want to know and experience it that much more.
I mean, you can tell them about it, but I mean, if you keep showing it to them with that,
you're making them all that's doing is making someone comfortable with it. Right. When you talk to your child about sex, they don't have the need to go out and find out about it because you've told them about it. Nobody can tell them anything different because they've already heard it from the people who are in charge legally of rearing them. So when they go out, we heard stuff from our friends, and it sounded strange, and we believed it to a certain point. So we believed, like, that's what it is. I never forget this young man, and I don't want to put him out there like that because I really want to say his name because I think he was weird as a child. But he told us, I don't know how this conversation got to this point because I don't know who listening, but oh well, you grown. But I remember him just being another friend of ours. We was in elementary school. He told us something that was really disgusting. Right. And he said, like, white stuff come out of his penis when he pee. And I was like, like is this right? As an adult, that's what you thinking. But for him, we was at elementary school.
How old are you? Like 9, 10?
Yeah, we had to be around that age. Like,
me growing up, I wasn't exposed to that. You know what I'm saying? Me growing up, like, I didn't even see a first gay person until I was probably like in high school.
You said did?
No, what?
You said gay?
Yeah, gay.
Oh,
I did like growing up. Like I wasn't exposed to none of that. So
you saw people, you just didn't know who they were because people could not say who they were, or as a child they don't know who they are. Like you saw them, but they look normal to you. Like they were normal human beings. They didn't like. I think people now feel the need to be more expressive because they're more comfortable with themselves. You know, growing up, we didn't see people who were that comfortable because, especially in the black community, that's not something you did. People were killed or shot. It was this young man, Ira, I saw him write something on this post today. Are we okay with the alienation of heterosexual black men? And I laughed when I saw it. And the comments, to me, were hilarious. So I believe there are gay people who go over the line because they're really comfortable. But were you okay with the alienation or the murdering or the battering or the brutally beating of gay black men? Black gay men?
I don't believe in none of that brutal stuff when I'm killing just because of someone's sexual preference. To me, I really don't care. I mean, that's what you do. That's what you do. You know.
But I'm
just saying, I'm one person. I'm not gonna judge you, or I'm like, hey.
But it's hard to speak for those people who. I mean, it's not hard to speak for them, but it's just like it's hard to really get into their minds and let them know, like, okay, you're not saving a life by taking away another because of their sexual preference.
Because you don't agree with it, like, and that's the short of it.
It's so scary. scary. They think that they're saving a life. They think that they're saving a community.
They're not doing that. They trying to save themselves because often that person represents what they're beating up.
Talk about it.
I'm just saying, I've seen a lot of things. I'm a grown person. I've seen things. I've heard things. I've personally experienced things. Those people are fighting their own feelings and they're angry. Or if they're really not into that, that's fine. But you can't accuse me of doing something because maybe somebody touched you when you was a child or somebody did something to somebody you love. You can't blame every person that represents that. You know, and I see that, but I got to get off of this because this wasn't the intention to talk about this. Maybe that's another show. No, I just hate when people feel like I can't speak up for myself, whatever issue it may be, whether it's the Me Too, the Black Lives Matter, you know, the Hispanic lives. Put your mic down. Whatever your group is, whatever your demonstration is, I have issues with individuals not feeling like they can really express themselves in that venue, or you being mad that I'm standing up for myself. Like, there are a lot of people mad at Me Too, but there are a lot of women who feel like they were victimized and they now have a platform to be able to express themselves.
Anybody that's mad at Me Too probably represents the oppressors that we are crying against. Flat out.
Bam.
You're
the
right.
Same people that are mad at the Hispanic, you know, or Latino or Black Lives Matters, or
it's just ridiculous. People don't know how to step outside themselves and look at things from another perspective at any time.
They sure don't.
I think that's very important, especially minority groups. How are we supposed to have people look at us or relate to us in any kind of way when we are just too one-sided? You know, we face, you know, a lot of oppression for decades, for damn centuries. So you mean to tell me we can't step out ourselves 1 minute to look and, you know, take up for another group or for another cause?
Those sub-organizations, when it's outside of race, even race people have a problem with you speaking up for yourself, racial issues. So when you begin to drop down to those sub-organizations that, you know, I don't feel like I'm being heard. Like, it's something interesting because the civil rights movement, the women's suffrage movement, and the gay rights movement, it's, in terms of it being a rally or a protest, it started around the same time. And people kind of marginalize it. How dare you equate my struggle with your struggle? It's struggle.
It's struggle. And there is no equation. There is no comparison. It is what it is. These type of categories, these type of struggles, these type of fights and wars that we have, they hold no weight to each other. They're different. Right. They have layers. Stop trying to compare the two. That's what makes it. That's what makes some of these wars hard to, you know, to race. You know, make it hard to win in any way, shape, or form.
But it's not even a victory that all you're looking to be is one, understood, and just allowed to speak your claim. Some people not even looking for a response or an action in return. They're looking just to be heard.
Not even just to be heard, but looking for justice, though.
In most cases.
Most cases. Let's get that point. Let's just get that straight. I would like for the victims to be, you know, rendered justice, you know, against those oppressors, those people who can't keep them hands to themselves and their genitals in their back in their pants.
Wow. So with that being said. We have a guest, Mr. Raquis, that's going to be calling in the second hour. But before we do that, we have one more topic. So the Queen's Court with T.S. Madison and Kaya. Everybody know Kaya, Miss My Neck, My Back. And T.S. Madison has grown through the ranks of social media podcast vlogger sphere, and they now have a show together. The show started out with Kaya. Kaya started this show years ago. It was kind of her vlog, and when social media was starting to catch feet, and she used to tape this show, but it never really caught up because Kaya is very messy. Kaya is very, very angry, like, for some reason.
I don't know why.
Well, because she never really but she's never been able to really be mainstream, and we now know why. Your mouth is horrible. Well, Monday's show, they were actually after last week's show. That show comes on every Monday. I think it starts either at 8 or 10, which is a problem because it never is the same time. But I'm just a stickler for time when it comes to productions. they started, so after last week, they were talking about Monique and her issues. So I guess T.S. Madison reached out on social media and Monique responded and said, give me your information. They got information. She was scheduled for Monday. She called in via Skype or however they did it, and technical issues started to happen. Well, no, she was on her Periscope. Okay. But I think they Skyped her in or something. Right. So what happened was, I guess T.S. Madison did all of this preparation just to make sure everything ran smoothly. Well, I don't think the team that she has really knows what this is. So all of these technical issues, the lights, you can tell they had lights and they were too bright. The sound was in and out, and then Monique dropped at some point. So before Monique dropped off, Monique was patiently waiting. Now, mind you, they're in Atlanta, and she's in California.
Right, because she took the time out to come actually on the show, because she was just on set for like 10 hours. She was talking about, and she actually was pretty much waiting for them. You know, she said things do happen. You know, because it's part of the industry.
Let's go to a quick break, and we'll be right back after this commercial break to talk about more about this issue.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monny, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. Now here's one little speech I'm going to give you before I get into the next article. Here's what I want to tell you. Still, fear is big business. Fear is big business. I'm not telling you not to be alarmed by what you're seeing. I'm not telling you not to be concerned. What I am saying is not to buy into the notion that we should be afraid. You should be informed. You should be aware. You should start educating yourself about some things. I don't have the solutions. I don't have the answer. I wish I could say that if you did X, Y, and Z, you might not get shot by the police. I wish I could tell you that, but I can't. But what I can say is just start making yourself aware of what's going on, but don't be so consumed by what you're seeing that you become afraid, that you don't want to go out. Or you become numb. That's a good point, Nate. Nate said, or you become numb to it, like you just don't care. So we need you to just continue to be in touch with what's going on, but educate your family, talk to your sons, talk to your daughters, because it's not just limited to men. We know from Sandra Bland, she was a young woman who was killed. And we don't want to say, we don't know all the details behind what happened. No, the fact is that person's life still matters. They still have rights. They should not just be killed dead before they even get a trial. Okay, that's the point. They deserve a trial at least, but they can't even make it to the jail cell to get a trial to be tried. They're being killed even before arrest. Terrible. So that's my soapbox.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't forget, we have awesome sponsorship opportunities for you to be able to promote and market your business, your brand, your events, your products, your upcoming productions here live on Be Exposed Radio Studio with the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We also have a new feature for music artists. If you go to our website, www.beexposedradio.com, you could be featured on our website. We're going to start a new streaming component to the station where we don't play music directly because artists have complained about their music being freely available to people. But we're going to start a process where we actually upload your music to our website and people can go there and you can actually come on here and we direct people there to be able to listen to it. So hit us up, info@beexposedradio.com. Send us your MP3 formatted music, radio ready. If you don't know what that means, you can hit me up directly at the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com or at info@beexposedradio.com, and we'll give you more information on that. Don't forget our sponsor today is the Pill Center. They had an event today to say it like it is. Hashtag say it like it is. Go to the Pill Center, PEAL center.org/say it like it is. And there's a form that you can fill out for your high school age children to be able to fill out. And they have this 4-week workshop series that's helping them to tell their stories about being a part of the Baltimore public school system. It's an awesome project that they're doing. And it's being brought to you by the Pill Center. Again, the pillcenter.org/say it like it is, our sponsor for this month. So we were talking about the Queen's Court debacle when they were trying to interview. So I'll say, in the years that I've been here at this station, the owner of the station, Monny, has done an awesome job at implementing different layers. So every year you come back to listen to the show, you'll see something different. We started out with a high top table, 4 people can come in here. Now we can have a couple more people, a couple more mics. So things happen, especially on this podcast, internet surface thing, and we're not like a big conglomerate, so where you don't have the money to just build a whole studio and have it spec'd out. When you're growing, you have to do things in increments and change at your own speed.
Like baby steps.
Don't try to keep up with everybody. Well, what happened with T.S. Madison and the Queen's Court was they were trying to do some things. What actually ended up happening, and this is we talk about this a lot, understanding who's on your team. What happened was, because everything was going wrong, Kaya got agitated. I don't know, maybe it was something that started before the show started. Maybe it started because the stuff was going on. But she walked out.
Yeah, she walked out.
And what happened was, because Monique was filming herself on Periscope while she was being interviewed, you could hear the argument via her Periscope, via the Skype there. So you can hear the argument, and you hear T.S. Madison pleading with Kaya, "Come on, let's just do this show. Let's get this, done."
And Mo was like, "Come on, let me talk to you. I want to see your face. Let me see your face." You know what I'm saying?
Mo shouldn't even have to do that. She's a professional herself, regardless of the situation.
But mind you, they're in Atlanta. Right. She's in California,
and she just came off from one set. She shouldn't even have to plead with you to teach you how to be a professional.
Like, cause she understood what was going on as well. You know, she said, "I understand." She said, "This is the industry, baby. You know, things happen. You know what I'm saying?" And like, you know, like we do have technical difficulties, but don't just get up and walk away. Because at the same time, even from the from reading some of the comments from some of the viewers, some were upset at Monique because she kept broadcasting. You know what I'm saying? And then some were not. But I'm like,
I don't think Monique was thinking about that. I think she was just doing what she does. The issue I had was then Kaya snapped at Monique.
Right.
Excuse me?
She was like,
"I'm not talking to her.
I'm not talking." So she addressed her. "I'm not talking to you. We're not taping." So, and T.S. Madison said, "We're still live."
Oh my
so
God.
it be, to me, that is the most unprofessional that you can be. And it really, it was just like when we were watching R&B.
Still should have gone on because they were still
But
recording
things
sound.
were happening, right? The sound stuff was going wrong. If you were watching it live, the sound was going in and out, and then you couldn't really see them because the lights were on their face. You know, and it spoke to just professionalism. Like, we've had times where the live has gone down, where the show wasn't recording. Like, things have happened. Our engineers can speak to that. sometimes the audience, because things just shut off at times, but it's online, so things happen, you know. But I'm a theater actor, so I've been trained not to use mics. So when I go to places in the mic system, cut the mics off. I know how to use my voice, but people don't know how to project. They don't know how to get in that space of being professionals.
Right.
So they sometimes miss the ball. This was a big drop, and on my behalf, like, I'm all about forgiving people, but we can be friends and kiki on the outside. But in terms of doing business, we over.
Right.
That one situation showed me how you would react, and a lot of people was making comments like, you know, somebody could have been watching this show because Monique was on it, or just watching you in general to put you on a bigger platform. And they say, well, if they can't handle this, what happens when they're on a big platform?
Right. Absolutely. And I feel like that was just for show. You know how to Kaya. This is who I'm referencing to. She knows how to improv any other time.
No, but it was a big switch in her attitude. Yeah. And a lot of people was like, well, Monique came on there. Look what happened when you had Monique was the guest. Like, it wasn't her fault.
Right. She was mad at Monique for the whole thing.
Right.
You know?
So we're going to take our last break for this hour. And when we come back, we'll hopefully have Mr. Raquis on the phone. And we'll start the conversation about stealing people's shit. When we come back, don't go anywhere. It's the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monny, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Just a Bit Outside radio show.
I'm going for shellacking.
Ooh.
And another good stat, Miami has never beat Carolina at home.
Really?
Ever.
Okay.
Right. But the one good thing Miami can say is that they have safety TJ McDonald. He's back off of his 8-game suspension. So, you know, he'll be out there lurking and trying to make it hard for Cam Newton in the offense. And then also, you know, we have to make note that, you know, they just let go of Kelvin Benjamin.
Yep.
So that's kind of one less weapon that the Carolina Panthers have. So it'll be interesting to see how everybody will adjust to the changes that has happened over the past week and a half. You got a
Just a Bit Outside radio show every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 what it is radio show.
Wait, all right, listen. All right, say situation. Cause I keep telling y'all, it's different situations in the child support thing. You can't just pinpoint one thing. You can't just say, "Oh, here deadbeat. That's why you're on child support." Oh, he this. That's why you're on child support. Oh, she this. That's why she on child support. No, sometimes it could just go off of. Oh, I just called him and asked him, can he pay for the pictures? He ain't want to pay for the pictures. I'm taking his ass downtown. Yup.
Well, you got to know. Know who you dating.
Hold up.
You just like
I just called her. I just called her and asked could she just get Junior some shoes. She couldn't even get him no church shoes. I'm taking her ass downtown. Now, when you go downtown, you go down there, you get $500.
Right.
Now you mad because you getting $500, and now you really ain't getting no shoes for Junior or Lord CC because you getting $500 now.
Right.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, if you're a good father or a good mother, and you paying child support, right? You still gonna go ahead and do all that because
hold up.
It's just what it is.
Yeah, hold on, and that's another situation.
Right.
But you know what that creates? Now when we at the party, mommy and daddy ain't even down there speaking to each other. Cause daddy done paid for the party and he done came out of pocket this month with $600.
Right, that's your child.
Shouldn't be mad.
Listen. He shouldn't be mad, but he also has another child with his.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Oh, well, we're about to go on. We're about to go back on. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. And as promised, we have Mr. Raquis. Am I saying your name right? Right, I always... Raquis. We have him on... we have him on the phone. We first met you when you came on to promote your show, your stage play, Set It Off, the musical. And that's almost 2 years ago since you last did it. And you have been working on touring with it and taking it to another level. And unfortunately, you've hit a bump in the road. So our first...
That's funny as shit.
So I'll first ask you, what's the issue?
I'm sorry, y'all. This is funny to me that there is even an issue. Let me just say this. Let me clear it up. There was one thing that he said to me that was absolutely correct. He said to me, I did not steal your show. But I yelled at him, yes, you did. You stole it. But he said, no, I didn't steal your show. I got the rights to the movie. And I said, yes, as you were working with me as my producer on my show.
Oh my God.
So it was always clear. So let me say this. He did not steal my show. He did not. But what he did was he stole my opportunity.
So what you just said just now, he's been actually your producer and working with you up until this month, actually, planning to produce your tour of it. Like,
absolutely.
So this is not so much that he took the concept and ran with it, but what he's doing was supposed to be where you both were supposed to be at, but he's cut you out of it.
Exactly.
So explain to us. Go ahead.
And without telling me.
And without telling you. So y'all were recently talking and planning to take this on the road, but now we see a production, but you're not a part of it.
I'm not a part of it. Bitch, I feel like I've been Tony Braxton.
Oh, wow.
Not Tony.
I am not part of it, no.
Oh, no.
But it really, so we had an awesome conversation today, and I think I got a lot of clarity from you in terms of what has happened. And for me, like, a part of our conversation was just helping other artists and just business owners in general to get their business in order and not allow something like this to happen, because it's gonna happen, and that's part of our conversation. Sometimes you can't avoid stuff like this from happening, but what can you do to safeguard yourself? And that's kind of the gist of our conversation today. But tell us more about the production that you started almost 10 years ago.
I mean, that's just loaded. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Here's the thing. I think everybody could share. Like, you know what I mean? I was sharing my vision with you. It wasn't your vision. It was my dream. It was something that I worked on, and everybody knew that it was attached to me. And so for it to finally happen, you finally get an opportunity to get it mounted, and you're not a part of it. Like, where do they do that? It's like, you know,
right.
It's more of a moral issue than it is a legal issue.
Right.
He's got all the money. He's rich. He's got 1 million shows. But this was supposed to be my opportunity. I know people go, you little dumb artist. No, it wasn't really that. He came at me like a homie.
Right.
And he like roped me into this whole thing. And I never, ever felt comfortable, to be real. I never felt comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I always knew in the back of my mind that it wasn't right. I knew. But at this point, there was nothing I can do. He had already talked to the writer. They were being shady. The writer wanted to get me out so he could write it and make more money, too. Like, I was in a rock and a hard place. I didn't know what to do. I didn't really have a leg to stand on. Really.
So have you ever thought about, getting any type of paperwork drafted between you two to make sure, to try to avoid the situation?
I mean, let's say this to you. Like, he's a really ambiguous kind of man. So I was led to believe that before we could even talk about it, everybody wants to know who has the rights, right?
Right.
Because it's a great idea. But can we really do it legally? So I have to prove that is a case first. We couldn't really do a deal because we didn't know what was happening.
Right.
So we worked on that part of it for a year. I was like, yo, everything you put out there, here's what my name is, right? I'm just thinking, like, yo, you got me. I mean, that's my ignorance. Hey, I ain't saying that I wasn't wrong. But I'm saying he was not wrong, right?
Right.
Anyway, so so we worked on it for a year. I didn't know he had the rights.
Mm-hmm.
He calls me up one day and says, yo, I'm ready to go with the show. But the writer says he doesn't like your concept, and he giant gives me the rights. I said, hold up, I'm going to call Tekashi. I called Tekashi. Tekashi says he's a goddamn liar. I gave him the rights already. And I was like,
So tell us, Tekashi is the writer of Set It Off, the movie. Mm-hmm. So you.
Like, what? He told me he didn't have. And I went back to him, and it was just like a mess. Like I said, I was in the middle of that shit like that.
Right. And it was more so because you already was in touch with the writer, and you allowed him to handle the business side of it.
The writer is a relationship that I forged.
Right.
I already had the rights to do the show before.
Right.
But my contract was up, and we were going to tour, so we needed another contract.
To actually put it on the road.
I didn't have the money to buy them.
And if you don't understand, well, it's a little bit different when you're trying to adapt a story that's already been written in another format. But with theater, when you're getting rights to do theater, it's a difference between if you're doing a one night versus a one weekend versus if it's in a stationary location. But if you're traveling with something, then that's a whole nother type of contract. And you had the contract to do the productions that you did.
And the show isn't all mine.
Right.
I'm the third party.
Right.
There is a writer. It's source material didn't come from me.
Right.
So you know what I mean? I'm kind of limbo. I wrote this thing, but if they say no, that thing doesn't happen.
Right.
So it's like it's not my right. It's not my work to begin with.
Right.
The new form of it is mine.
Which means you adapted. He adapted the screenplay.
I adapted something that was already in existence. So the source material is the first material. That's what you got to start with.
So when I spoke to you this week, I asked you in terms of what did you want back from this? In terms of legally, he's in the right. Morally, he's not. But what did you want to happen from this?
What I want to happen, all that I want is to have my opportunity.
Right.
That's it. I don't want nobody not to eat. I don't want nobody to suffer. I just want to have my opportunity.
So you would actually, if things aligned and everything was even in terms of the working part of it, you would even be willing to keep him on as a producer. You would.
I was about to say, I don't know.
Would you be still willing to? Because you, at the end of the day, you want to continue doing your work. Would you still be open to him being the producer?
I don't think I'm gonna answer that question.
Okay.
I don't blame you, sweetie.
I had to still ask you. We talked about this.
Next question.
So how I got this story was someone sent me the image, and let's be clear, and I'll put that out there. Raquis didn't start this quote unquote, and these are the words of the gentleman that we're speaking of, this smear campaign. He didn't start this.
I sure didn't.
This was started by people who supported him, who knew that this was your work, and somebody else was passing it off as their own. And
let me say this.
Right.
I support it, but I didn't start it.
Right. You agree with it, but you're not the person who actually started. So there's a photo going around of the flyer that they're using, the marketing that they're using to do the play, and it has shut down written across it and with a big X. So when you found this out, where were your emotions initially?
Well, he said to me in our conversation after when I approached him, was, I can't believe you that your emotions take you to this place.
Right.
I was like, can I curse?
Go ahead, do what you gotta do. It's a party.
Like, are you crazy?
Right.
Are you fucking crazy? Anyway, I'm not even going back to that place because I can't.
Because
initially it was a shock to you because you all were still talking about doing the production in March.
Yes.
So it was just initially a shock to you.
Let me say this: we had scenes we did not agree about. Conceptually, there were things that we were in disagreement about, but we never walked away and said we're not doing it. He would just walk away and come back again later. He was never like that. So I'm not saying it was all perfect, but still, it needed to be hashed out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, morally, I don't agree with that.
I'm doing it without you. That's not how you do that.
Now, who have you've been able to be in contact with people around the production, this new production? What has been the overall like conversation or reaction from them versus your reaction to them?
I don't know. I mean, some of them don't know, but I know that the Brad has to know by now.
Right. Well, a lot of people have tagged it, so somebody know.
And let me say this: all the people that have stood up for the little fish, I really appreciate you guys. That love is overwhelming. It made me cry the other day. It was so much love. I was like, that's more important than the fucking show.
Because that's the whole point. So let's take a step aside, because we passed all the hate and the anger and frustration.
Oh, I'm so past that. I don't have any of that anymore.
What was the whole purpose of you doing this production that you've done a few times already?
Well, to me, people get, when people normally talk about set it off, they talk about it being a show with girls, the Big Wild Girls. Well, for me, it wasn't about that. It was about a time that mirrors the time that we're living in now. Set off was before its time.
Right.
Now, they were at a time and a place that not unlike the people in Ferguson or in Baltimore when they had been disenfranchised and niggas got caught and pushed around, so they wanted to fight back. And that's where the whole thing that propelled them in setting it off. That's where it came from, that whole social system, you know what I mean? All of that. You know, you split some roaches underneath the mattress, what they gonna do?
Right, right.
And so it was about them wanting to get out and needing something and all that. And Stevie was the first time I'd ever seen a young black man be shot and be the wrong guy. That, you know, they do it all the time now, but that was the first time we had seen it that way.
Right, right.
So all of that stuff moved me deeply. And I was like, that's the heart of the thing. So I was able to, in a musical, draw that out. You know what I mean?
Because it was really the catalyst for some of the actresses and, well, some of the characters to do what they did. Like, that was kind of like the emphasis for them to carry on their quote-unquote mission.
Exactly. And then I wanted to invite schools, like, I wanted to do matinees, so kids could come, we could do a talk back, and, you know, healing. It was about healing the community, too. It wasn't about just the play. Of course I wanted to go to Broadway.
Right.
You can do that, too, under my direction. And it also would be a ministry. Set Off is a movement. It's not a play.
So I think a lot of people would want to know, like, our listeners may not know who Raquis is. Tell us who you are. And start by...
I'm nobody. I'm a starving artist. Like everybody else trying to find an opportunity.
Come on now. Don't at least give us
Don't
some
sell
of
yourself
your
short.
resume.
Don't sell yourself short, honey.
Like, tell us who you are. He really is, like, playing the game. And we talked about this already. But tell us who you are.
I'm an artist that, as a young child, people said would be the next. Would be the next. And so, at one point in my life, I had a breakdown because people told me I was going to do these things, and it had not happened. And I saw people like who were not as talented as me, but that were able to live off of their craft. When I knew when I felt inside that I was equal, or if not better. And so that took me to a place that I went through a drive, a really terrible time. And then I came out of that, and I had to you gotta play tricks with your mind so you can keep getting up every day.
Right.
So like this, I can barely pay my electric bill. So I took with that over here, and not as good as me, but they're paying everybody's bills. What is wrong with me? And then you sit for a long time, and you get sad, and you get maybe not really. So I had to pull up out of that one, but then you get like doubtful. You get doubtful. It's like I always use the analogy. It's like being on a basketball team and you sit in the bench. You out there, but you're in the bench, and you watch everybody go up and down the court. And you don't know what your worth or what your value is unless you get out there in the court, under the lights, under the pressure. But if you don't, you lose confidence because you're on the bench, but you should be in the game. And the only way you get in the game is if somebody allows you to get in the game. People can keep you out of the game because they really can. I know everybody thinks they're their own power, but people can decide you can come in.
Right.
And people can also decide you cannot come in.
So real quick, because we got to pay bills here, Raquis, we got to pay a couple bills. So hold on for 1 second. Hold on 1 second. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. You can tell he was a decent band.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Monny from Talk Lately.
Even as a comedian, if I say a joke and it just might not fit your cup of tea.
Are tuned in to BeExposedRadio.com.
Not what's going to happen.
That's exactly.
Do y'all think that we're about to go to war with North Korea?
Yeah, we're going to get tracked down, huh?
Do you think North Korea is going to bomb us? Is it going to be like a nuclear?
Probably.
No. Probably.
We lost all our allies.
Yep.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Now, is that because of Trump or is that something Obama
because
did?
of Trump.
He purposely lost them. He said it too. He doesn't want to.
All the people that don't like us now, there are nice pictures of Obama meeting with them.
She said, also look at his past campaign. Most of his endorsements were from the Klan. Y'all about to assassinate me. My phone, my hair keeps getting tangled up in this thing. But I have read this plenty of different times that the Klan, oh my God, y'all about to yell at me so bad. But just tell me if I'm wrong or right. Did they or did they not endorse Obama also?
No, they did not.
Was that a rumor that I heard?
Yes, it
I
was.
swear in my life I have heard that the Klan has endorsed Obama. I'm dead serious, yo. Like,
You gotta be careful leaving.
Can somebody
out of here.
Google that for me? I'm dead serious. Like, I read somewhere. I think it was like when he ran back in
You want to meet his parents? These are his parents.
Says who?
Crystal Renee Radio Show. Just a bit outside radio show.
I'm going for shellacking.
Ooh.
And another good stat, Miami has never beat Carolina at home.
Really?
Ever.
Okay.
Right, but the one good thing Miami can say is that they have safety TJ McDonald. He's back off of his 8-game suspension, so he'll be out there lurking and trying to make it hard for Cam Newton in the offense. And then also, we have to make note that they just let go of Kelvin Benjamin.
Yep.
So that's kind of one less weapon that the Carolina Panthers have. So it'll be interesting to see how everybody will adjust to the changes that has happened over the past week and a half. You got a
Just a Bit Outside radio show every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I don't know who to talk to anymore. So we're back. We're back here on the Artist Exchange radio show. Please say your name because I always feel like I'm saying it wrong, but I know I'm saying it wrong.
My name is Raquis.
Oh my God. I forgot the accent marks. I forgot. Yeah, that's why I said I forgot the accent marks. My bad. I should have just. I should have wrote it real big on my notebook. But we're back here with Mr. Raquis, and we're talking about his production of Set It Off. He had someone take the concept and run with it and left him wondering what happened. But during the break, actually during our conversation today, I kind of likened this situation to, because a couple people asked, why are you complaining? Like, you didn't have things in order, and it's kind of mirroring what's going on with Monique and her speaking out, and the idea that if you treated me badly, I don't have the right to speak out and say something about it without somebody getting...
Somebody inboxed me and was like, Monique, where's your video? I said, it's coming soon, and I'm staying with her anyway, you damn worker bee.
Right. And that's what we say. We can't, I can't even say just artists, but as people who go after a dream and they take leadership in their goals, we can't expect for people who punch into a clock. And there's nothing wrong with punching into a clock, but I can't expect for somebody who punches into somebody's clock and finds comfort in that. So I can't expect them to understand what I'm feeling when it's mine, when it belongs to me.
Two different places.
Right.
In life.
Like we can't expect for people to get it, and we keep.
Who are we talking to, man? We have to talk to nobody. There's nobody you can talk to.
Well, I know a lot of people, because I was stuck in that 9-to-5 rut, but some people are working that job to fuel those things.
Some of them are posers.
Yeah.
Some of them will make you think that they understand.
Yeah.
They will make you think that they're with you and they get it. Some of them are fucking posers.
Yeah.
Well, this 9 to 5 ain't no poser. Just want to let you know.
She said she's not a poser.
I'm not a poser. I definitely relate to the grind. It's just that I just don't want to be broke while doing it.
But you have to understand why you're doing that 9 to 5. Like, is this 9 to 5 my life, or is it fueling my life?
Absolutely, it's fueling my, and I definitely understand where you're coming from.
9 to 5, that becomes your government shit. Like, I was a school teacher for 5 years, and that's when I quit and came to California.
Yeah.
That's when I quit. I was like, I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah, you gotta know when to jump the ship.
And I just moved.
And well, we can actually get on that subject. So Raquis just recently moved.
I missed the check every week.
So it's been how long have you been in California?
Child, I've been here for 23 weeks. Don't ask me why I'm counting the weeks. But 23.
Life is hard. It's hard. So actually, I have another co-host here with me, Damonn. Damonn actually took that journey himself. He went to go to school there.
Oh yeah, I went to San Francisco. I lived in San Francisco. I went to Academy Art University.
So he understands the grind.
Oh, so sympathetic.
He understands.
Man, I loved every bit of it. 100. You're young. I'm old. I mean, no, man, I was, 32. So, I enjoyed it. I loved it.
How long ago did you go?
But you decided, why did you decide to take the big leap at such an old age then? Like, at your old... I was just piggybacking, so...
Oh, because it was like now or never. Like, I wasn't going to come this way again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If I was going to go, I had to go now.
Which part of California are you in?
Los Angeles.
You're there. You're there.
Ooh, what neighborhood?
Oh man.
What neighborhood?
Man, you need to get out.
We're gonna say Baldwin Hills.
Go to San Francisco, man. More dreams come true there. Cause in LA.
Gotta laugh to keep from crying.
So in choosing to move to California, like this, I mean, you don't have to tell us every little detail, but how has it been so far? Right. So in terms of the journey, speaking about the journey. Oh my God, it's hard in the pain, bitch. It's hard out here for
Trying to get that money for that rent, huh?
For the Cadillac of gas money spent. But
right. We are laughing with you, but it's really it's just amazing to me. So where do you go from this point? What you've already done shows there. So what he's not saying is he's an experienced choreographer, he's an actor, he's a director, he's a writer, he's a production person. So you do a lot. You gotta work in California. That ain't no place to just.
Yeah.
This is why I came up here. I came to divorce myself from the arts. I wanted to live a regular life, get a job, go to work, and come home and get paid, and that's all we want to do.
Right. Well, just in case you still wondering, NAACP is hiring in the LA bureau. I know because I got an email, and I was considering making that jump. But each one teach one, darling.
I love it. Send me that email.
We are not. You are not going to encourage him to not be an artist.
You can do both. You can do both.
A benefactor, as they say.
To push your art. I worked in factories. I have made boxes. I have some trash. I'm trying to think of all the stuff that I have
in 23 weeks? Damn.
No, 23. That's what I've done. I've done a spring park. I've done everything. I've done a million jobs and things that I would have never done in my life since I've been here.
I mean, but did you see that? But you're choosing to be happy despite some people would be miserable because they're not able. They're that close to their dreams and they're not able to be in it. So.
I wasn't miserable. I took the journey. I enjoyed where it took me.
But you flew there or you drove?
Okay, where I was.
I mean, he officially, Damonn just asked, how did you get there? But you officially moved there. It wasn't like you just showed up one day or, you know.
Well, listen, I had a family friend. Child, you gotta tell the story. You gotta tell all of it. So I have a family friend. I said I wanted to come to California. She was like, oh, come, please come. And I was like, no. You know, you can't move with somebody you don't really know.
Right.
And, you know, she kind of begged me. And I was like, no, it's not a good time. My mother said don't go. My aunt said don't go. Everybody said don't go. She might be crazy. I was like, no, she seems so nice. But it seems so nice. And so, anyway, that's the way to the woods.
Please tell me that she was as nice as she seemed.
So I moved with her. And then I got there. She was like, eat anything in the refrigerator. Because I'm on a diet. I'm on a pill trying to text my man. Anyway, so I ate the food. She was like, then she got mad and was like, you ate all of my stuff, you dirty. I said, you told me to eat the food, lady.
Oh,
and then when I
God.
offered to pay you back, you said no. I said, what? I asked you 10 times. You said no. So you told me to eat the food. Now you're mad. And now when I pay you back, you won't let me? Oh, my God. She said, you have to get out of my house by Sunday. And I was like,
wow, she didn't even give you a 30 days notice, bro.
Well, and she didn't, and I don't care. I'm not that kind of person. I was like, all right.
So, but go ahead.
And then you couch hop. You know what I mean? You do whatever you have to do. People
Right.
in the car. I spent a few nights in the car. My mom will be mad that I said that. But it is what it is. I was not going home.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just got to do what it is that you got to do, and you can't go backwards and fall off on things. But guess what happens? You got to pay more bills.
But I did that to myself on purpose. I had to come
Right.
out as
Get out of that comfort zone.
yes, I had to leave what I already knew. I had to do it to myself. And I've gotten smart and strong and all kinds of things on this journey.
More power to you.
Well, we have a journey right now that we have to take, so hold tight for a second. We got to take another commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
Be Exposed Radio.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
What does hustle hard mean to you? What does that signify in your life?
That's a lifestyle for me. You know what I mean? Like, true story, I was born into a family in a community of hustlers. Now, let's get focused right quick, because when people hear the word hustler, they confuse it with con artist or something negative. So they like to call people entrepreneurs, right? But the definition, and I'm paraphrasing, but the definition of hustle is forced movement or to be hurried, right? But we're not talking about just pushing other people. Sometimes you got to push yourself, and that what makes you a hustler. True story. So the thing about it is, like, when it comes to hustling, listen, quick story. I used to go buy juleps a lot, right? And my grandmother used to make me clean the yard, shovel snow, do things like that to go get a julep. But one day she was like, look, you putting all your money in someone else's pocket.
Word.
Save those quarters, and I can teach you how to make a formula, and you can sell your own juleps. You understand? So the next couple weeks, I saved my money.
Always a hustler.
Listen,
got to love
but think
everybody
about
got
this.
a grandma story like that.
Grandmothers are the natural hustlers because they were the ones who maintained and sustained our families through epidemics. You're talking Big Mama went through slavery and held it. You talking Big Mama went through the Depression and held it. Big Mama went through crack and held it and still maintains it today. So if you don't think you come from a hustler, then you don't know where you come from. You understand?
That's so real.
I began to sell juleps, and ever since then, I capture a hustle. And a hustle is not a swindle. It's not a sneaky thing. It's up front. You're providing a need. You understand? So you're the bridge. If you're a true hustler, you're trying to be the bridge. If somebody's on one side...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
What you know about that, Seraphina?
Welcome back. We're back on to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I'm your host, Nate Couser, and then I have Mr.
HullyWood in the building. How y'all doing out there?
And Miss
Ashmiá Mac.
There
How
we
you
go.
doing?
I'm horrible with names, so I let people introduce themselves.
I
And
appreciate it.
I do. I gotta be able to sign them checks, so I gotta eat. I like to eat. So we're back with Raquis, and I brought Raquis on the show, one, because he was going through some issues with a production that he had, but I saw a teachable moment, and my whole reason, a discrepancy, but for me, the whole purpose of me starting this show is so artists can learn lessons. Sometimes we're hard-headed, sometimes we just don't have the resources, but when things like this happen to one of us or a couple of us, it's our duty to share it and to express it because people go through the same problems. I don't want to see another celebrity go through bankruptcy. You know, if Tony Braxton had to go through it and this artist had, why are we still repeating it? Because nobody's talking about it. Nobody is sharing their stories because they were embarrassed. So you can be embarrassed all day, but it should be on your conscience that you're letting another person, especially a younger person, go through the same thing you had to go through. And sometimes you do have to go through the things, but...
And it's not a lot of knowledge or guidance being passed along to artists when it comes to managing their finances. The easiest ways to manage your finances, yet it's so hard when you on Instagram and you see these ads and you scrolling and you see all these good little deals on Fashion Nova, but those things add up, and eventually you're going to be right in the same, you know, bankrupt line, you know, right behind.
Well, sometimes
I do agree, though. I do think that, like, I wouldn't want to be like me. I don't want to produce direct. I don't want to be doing both. I do want to be aware of what's happening on both sides. But I don't want to produce and direct the show. My talent is in the room. Leave me in the room. Y'all worry about those numbers, but let me run them by me. But y'all worry about the numbers and let me be creative. I don't want to do both.
I think the best piece of financial advice that I've had in terms of learning to be an entrepreneur and really seeing my dreams is you sign every check. Like, I think that was Oprah's advice. You sign every check, you get it in writing, and these are things that you not taught in school. When you're learning to be an actor and they're telling you the Meisner method versus August Wilson versus what's upstage versus downstage and showing you how to construct a costume. Business is not one of those classes that's a requisite, prerequisite.
That's they call it a business show. But listen, it sounds like I did not know. So
right.
Like, I mean, I'm not that. I've been around contracts. I know all those things. I just thought I was a rock in a hard place, and I didn't know where to go.
Right.
And I didn't know how to get out of either.
So how would this change your relationships with business upcoming or in the future?
Oh my God, how? Child, I feel sorry for anybody who has to do business with me after this point.
No, let's learn from this experience.
Look at me without some type of form. Sign this. I have like I have 1,000 signs. You want to take my hand, sign this. You want to say hello, sign this. It's going to be a disclosure for everything.
But the crazy thing is, we do look at people who become those hard asses, and we like, who did this to you? Like, why are you this person, bro?
Well, we know that those are the people to make it.
Yeah.
People like you and I who care about craft and stuff, we don't really make it.
Well, you speak that in existence for your life.
Right. I'm
not to survive.
I don't like the way you're talking down on
though.
yourself. Raquis, I don't like the way you're talking down on yourself. I need you to speak more light into your situation.
Don't bring negativity into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
What you'll know about me is I'm a very honest person. I'm saying, typically, it is about the people who are clawing and scratching and doing all the terrible things that make it to the top. And if they pull up other people, that's it. So I'm not going to do any of that. So I'm going to shake and cut. Because there's some things I'm not going to be willing to do. Even though people say you should compromise. I'm not going to do that.
Absolutely.
So you just get stuck in the gut.
So today, where you are, you're past all the anger, frustration. If you could just...
I ain't frustrated.
Not no more. I said we passed all of that. If you could speak to an individual and not so much prevent them, but give them advice for going through something like this, what would you say to that individual, that artist, that entrepreneur, so on and so forth?
When they come bearing gifts, check them out first, bitch. Let them put a few inches on the shit.
That's right. I agree. Open up, look at the bottom of the gift box. Look at the bottom. You might see a thorn in them roses.
Don't encourage his crazy.
But I think he's speaking truth.
Right.
And all that glitters isn't gold.
That's right.
And believe you, that's mine. And, that's it.
So where does that energy for you come from that you can smile through this? Because some people be, he would have been a bunch of bitches on Facebook at this point.
If you don't smile, I mean, listen, we can control, what you can't do is control what happens to you.
Right.
But what you can control is how you feel about what happens to you. You decide if you want to be sad about it. You make a choice if you want to not, whatever. You choose. I choose not to be sad about it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and think about it like this. My mom always said, man's rejection is God's protection. You may not, it wasn't meant for you to work with a sly person type of person that way. You know what I'm saying?
But listen, you know what, I'm telling you about this. Everything I've asked the universe for is given to me. Not maybe the way that I wanted it.
That's
I wanted to get away from him. I got away from him. Now, he's still doing the show, but we're not together.
Well, that tells you got to be specific about those prayers. You got to be detailed.
That's right.
Like I'm just saying, I told God to get me out the car.
Right.
Our transmission broke down.
Okay.
I got out of it. Like, it wasn't the way I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, it's all still good.
Right.
It has to be.
And then you learn your lessons, and then you're stronger the next time. Or
I don't really feel like I learned the lesson. So, because I never ever got into the arts to, like people get mad all the time. I never, like you said, I never was trying to make $1 million. I really care more about the art. I'm not going to live my life because, like, it's short, worried about, stuff that you can't take with you that's materialized. That is not something that turns me on. Sure, if it makes money, we all do, it's fine. But I never did that for that reason. And I don't think that I'm wrong for feeling that way. I know people say, you should do business, but that's not what I did it for.
Well,
I did it. I did all of it.
Well, that's crazy because myself and Damonn were talking about that the other day. Like, for me, I wasn't raised to chase a dollar. Like, you have to do something for the passion, because when you're chasing a dollar, this industry will eat you alive, or you become that, right, or you become that vulture.
It's not sincere.
Yeah.
Right.
In whatever it is that you do.
Because that means you will do something that compromises your integrity.
For the dollar.
For a
Talk
dollar.
about it. Talk about it.
Wow.
You can keep your shit.
And that
That's
is...
the reason why I'm in the cut. Because there's certain things I'm not going to do. And
Right.
I have my own God voice inside of me that said don't do it. So I ain't doing it. I don't want to do it. There it is. There it is. I'm not going to keep bending down for you or anybody else.
Can you speak to real quick about cultivating, like, because you've been able to meet a lot of different types of people and doing what you do. How do you cultivate relationships? Because you were surprised at the response that you got from this.
I was very surprised. I mean, I got calls from everybody. See, the thing is this. Everybody, what I didn't know is how many people knew about Set It Off and me. That's what I did not know.
Well, you kind of did it for about 10 years,
I knew I put it out there, but like, all the different people that have contacted me, whether they were sound designers, professional actors on TV shows or whatever, they've all been like, yo, I'm sorry to hear about what happened to you. Movie stars have been calling me or inboxing me saying, that's fucked up.
Right. What do you want? How do you think that this... How do you think we can prevent stuff like this from happening in the future?
Disclosure.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you... I don't know. This is an age-old tale. Big fish eat little fish. This is something that has gone on. It's going to go on. The industry is trying to make it seem like it's okay. We accept it. Just like we accepted executives mishandling women. We just accepted it. Same idea. Okay, it's okay. You screw me on the first album. You'll get yours in the second. Whatever that story is. This is not a new story. I'm just saying something about it now. That's all. People ain't say shit. I'm just saying something about it. I want my chance. You know what I mean?
Right.
So are you thinking about staying in the arts still after this debacle?
I mean, I can't get away from the arts, but you know, how much can a man take? How much disappointment? It's like Josh Gibson in Negro League. They say he died of a broken heart. Like, how much more can a man take?
And that was another person who tried to speak out, and people tried to quiet him. Don't talk about Master. Don't talk about it. Don't be quiet. You will mess it up for all of us.
That's the problem. People are misleading and claim that they're with you. You gotta be. You need to be mindful of that. I think that in this case, just as we talked about, get your legalities straight. On your own.
I get that hoping that he would do the right thing. You know what I mean? Like you said about him being with you. I just figured you do the right thing, and I said that to him too. I'm hoping that you do the right thing.
Right.
Like everything I'm saying to you is stuff I say. Like I'm not a hider. I'm not a fake ass nigga. So I would say, yo, I hope you do the right thing. What do you mean? Handle your business. Like this is getting out of hand. I want you to make sure you do the right thing. Okay, I got it. Okay. All right. Like I wasn't just sitting back, but I also was trying to be careful.
Be real and be fearless is what should be instilled in more new artists these days. Be fearless.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Do you miss teaching children?
Yes, that's a no, right?
Well, tell us how you really feel.
I can't tell you nothing else. All you own is how you feel.
Right.
Listen, no, I don't. I don't miss being in school. No.
So when you first, because I remember reading the post and you saying I'm finally gonna do this. Like, what were your expectations?
I guess they told me.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's just funny. I guess they told my ass. You won't be doing this.
No, he's crazy. But what were your expectations in the move? Because I know it couldn't have been vacation. I know. I hope that.
You know what? I figured this. We were talking about it happening. I kind of knew it was kind of going to happen. So I moved to LA. I was there, rough it out for a few months, and then said it all will come, and now I have money.
Right. Right.
That didn't happen.
Well,
but is that still in your? I mean, that can still happen though. Like, are you ready to fight? It could. Come on. You have too many angry DMVers that's support you. That's gonna make it happen.
This should be a good spin for him to do something on his own. I mean, hey, look at Tyler Perry. He was just in the same shoes as you were, living out his car and all that.
Don't give up, man.
Don't give up. You gotta.
Like, as long as you get no matter time. No, I can't get my words out. No matter how many times you get knocked down, you know what I'm saying? If you can look up, you can get up. You feel me?
Hey, I'm every day, bro. Every day.
Right.
Every day.
This is a good type of platform for you to start establishing your own type of company, your own work. People get to see the man behind it all. But theater is business down the line.
Well, hold on, because you can't pay your rent with a script.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
At some point, you got to put a little business sense into that. Like, I understand. I hate thinking about the business side of being creative because then I have to stop thinking about being creative for a moment. So I get that. But in starting up right now, your trust level for people ain't really there. Let's be honest. So you gotta have to put that, you know,
put that
$5, $10, $15 business sense in your mind, that hustle mentality that you got from the DMV. You got it. I mean, you're from the DMV, so you got hustle in you. Right. So you gotta put that to work at this point because, like, what else are you going? I don't see you being in nobody customer service life for the rest. I don't see it. Like, your personality is not in that space.
Listen, guys, I'm a little older than you, but you just don't want to fight. You're already tired. That's what happens. You just get tired. Like, you just fucking tired.
Yeah,
maybe
but
you'll refuel. Maybe you'll come back. But sometimes you just be like,
no, I'm just thinking about it like this. Just reserve enough fight to keep your head above water, and that's it. Not, you know.
You're right. I'm really busy. I'm really busy. I'm trying to live.
But you're still working. You're still working. I mean, you still working. So, you know, it's nothing that's changed. But I've seen people slip out of this world in terms of that artistry world, that is, and not want to return. Like, I've been there myself at times where I just gave up.
Let me tell you this. When I say, like, I won my opportunity, the only thing I would like to have is the opportunity to do something on the national stage, so that before I leave Earth, we can see my work and talk about it.
Right.
I can grow and share. And the more of us that are work at their greatest capacity, the people that come under us will be greater because they saw us at our top. So they want to reach beyond that, and they do. So I just want to have a chance to add my little shit to the thing. That's all.
Well, if you said you've been journaling and writing and thinking.
I haven't written anything down. I just didn't live in it. But it's all up here.
Right. Well, write that itch down and throw a couple actors on stage, or do your one-man show. Do it yourself.
That's right. Everybody
stand in the middle of Sunset Boulevard and just do it.
I'm not doing it.
Raquis, he's going to be the next Tyler Perry. I'm speaking into existence.
No, don't be like him.
Well, no, not exactly like him, but you know.
Sometimes you don't want to tell nobody what to do. You just be like, let me just tell me where to go, how to get there, and I'll do it. I don't want to think. It hurts your brain, y'all.
Yeah.
It hurts the brain.
So this is our last.
Everything has to be a fight.
I get you, sir. Because we're not in kindergarten anymore.
That's right. This is the real life.
We should stay there.
Right.
We should stay there.
So we're actually closing out the show, and I want to ask you. I know, right? That's how I feel sometimes. I feel like that sometimes, but
sometimes
it becomes a chore. But my last question to you is: what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self?
To who?
Your 17-year-old self. I know it's been about.
Bitch.
I said to your 17-year-old self. We joking. We laugh. You want to keep your spirits up.
You know what I would say to my 17-year-old self?
Right.
Fuck them. Do it. This goddamn thing.
There we go.
Don't change one damn thing.
And on that note, don't change one thing, Mr. Raquis.
I'm not. I can't.
I'm really honestly, like we talked earlier, I'm here. I don't want to hear about you like and nobody behind no desk punching in no clock. I don't care. I really don't. That's when I get real. I don't care how much you love it. I'm saying to you, I'll come to California. I will and find you. So thank you again, Raquis. I really appreciate you taking the time and calling in and sharing your story with us. And don't stay in touch. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Stop.
Stay in touch. Don't lose touch. All right. Peace out. So this has been the Artist Exchange. We got one more segment to go. So stay tuned. Stay locked in. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange radio show only on BigExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monny, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Even as a comedian, if I say a joke and it just might not fit your cup of tea, but it's mine, that's what a comedian is supposed to do.
But people forget
everybody's not going to find your jokes funny. They better find mine funny.
But they forget that, though. They really forget that. They forget that but it's your view. That's why they didn't fire her.
Yeah.
Because her viewpoint is controversial.
Her view. That's the view she sees.
Right.
Everybody is clear to her.
Like they did their reaction to
cellophane.
They did the reaction to the Chris Rock Oscar, and they were talking about Stacey Dash, and I don't think she agrees with Stacey Dash, but she pointed her out as somebody who has an opinion that's just different from everybody else's.
Her opinion is just stupid, though. Stacey Dash she's like a dash. Let's just move on.
I think she's intelligent, but her
You're still going.
opinion.
We're gonna move on. Stacey Dash doesn't need to be talked about. She's irrelevant.
You said her name like 3 times already.
She's irrelevant.
I said it once.
Dash. Dot. So
I couldn't have meant that more. She is so irrelevant. I'm not even going to say her name. But we're here.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
So I don't have an issue with the idea of radio. I mean, a 9 to 5. I don't have an issue with it. I was raised. My mother had plenty of 9 to 5s, but I wish my mother would have taken her dreams more seriously than she took somebody else's dreams. You know, when you go, and there's nothing wrong with working at Walmart, maybe a little bit something wrong with, because they don't care about you. But there's nothing wrong with working there and paying your bills. But Walmart was Sam Walton's dream. That was his dream, to have a chain of department stores. His dream came true. Every time you clock in, you're making his dream a reality. So when they close down 20 Sam's Clubs, they still gonna be good. You out of a job. You're not paying your bills. Sam Walton and all his descendants that sit on top of the board, they good right now. You looking at how I'm gonna pay my bills. Right. So hold on, we got a phone call. Hey caller, they gone. They was nervous. You can call back 410-702-5657. So that's my issue with a 9 to 5. It's not anything in particular, or like I have a problem. I hate the man. I hate calling my dreams by your dream's name. So the fact that I can't tend to my dream now, we know that jobs right now, they want open availability, but they only gonna give you 25 to 30 hours a week. But you want me to say my Monday through Sunday, 24/7 is available to you. But what you giving me? You giving me less than full-time wages and benefits. If you giving me benefits, right. You asking me, do I have benefits to qualify for your job, so you don't have to give me benefits, and I'm not waiting on you to have benefits. If my car, my credit, all these things don't line up for you, then I can't get a job to help pay for my life. Now, it's not your responsibility that I pay my rent, but if I'm giving you my time, my energy, my talents, then you should be able to give me something back in return. And employers, because that's their dream. If I got to keep paying you off of my dream ain't worth it. So I got to give you the least and get the most out of you.
It's hard.
That's the problem with a 9 to 5.
It's hard for some of the employers to realize that they have that.
It's not hard for them. It's not. They don't care.
They don't care. Yeah, they adapt that slave owner mentality.
Guess what? That child going to college. That child not going to Baltimore City public schools.
People in their jobs working, they somewhere on the island sent back chilling.
Right, they got gas money. They got gas money. They can go to the market on Wednesday because it's Wednesday, not because
it's payday.
Right, it's payday.
Right.
So that's the issue with making yourself. But all these people that are going against Monique, they ain't never seen 500,000. So the fact that she was offered that, but her value as an entertainer is quadruple that. But you're telling her she should manage her money enough to take a portion. They equaled it up. It would take 26 Moniques to equal to
what they pay D. Ray Davis.
That's what I'm saying. And they don't want you shut up because you gonna mess up my money. Chris Rock's brother said, "Don't be in nobody's pocket." But how much are you worth? How much did Netflix offer you?
Ask yourself that. Absolutely.
But he's willing to take that change in order to get ahead. And there are people like that. It's nothing wrong with doing every job that they offer you. But if they're not paying you your worth, that's a problem. And Monique has said she's never made over $1 million for any movie. So she's already taken it. But she took the opportunity to build her resume. And at some point, she said, I want an Oscar now. You told me after I win an Oscar, I can at least get this. But you know what? Wait a little bit longer. No, because I'm going to win another Oscar. And you will say, you know what? Wait a little bit longer. We've seen that with Holly. When the last time you seen Halle Berry in something that wasn't a blockbuster? When the last time you seen Whoopi Goldberg in something? When the last time you seen Denzel Washington in something that was a blockbuster? Will Smith. All these people have those accolades. But they keep telling them that worth less than this.
Right. It's like, okay, you got your Oscar. Now you can just have a seat.
So real quick, we got a minute because we got 2 minutes left. Let us know when some events that's coming up.
Okay, well, for everyone, last night I attended a nice event at the Poets Modern Cocktails and Eats. That's located in the Hotel Indigo. Every Thursday night they have a nice jazz set, and the guys were awesome. Later down the line, maybe you're gonna watch. You can log onto our page, and you'll see the interview that I had with some of the band members that I had talking with me. There was Stelton Allen and also Jamal and also Mr. Ramar, who was the musical director. Also, for the 13th and the 14th, for some people who don't have a Valentine's Day date or anything to do on Valentine's Day, February 13th, the Mount Vernon Marketplace is going to be having a Mardi Gras at the Marketplace.
That's when you take out your side piece. I'm not going to.
First of all, I'm virginal. Secondly, But yeah, but Marketplace is definitely popping for the 13th and the 14th. And then
is there a cover for that?
No. You know, you just come up there festive. Local Orchard is going to be having some cool deals. All of the eateries is going to have a nice little deal for the Mardi Gras. You just show up with your beads and everything, your beads and braids and shells and things. Then also on the 17th, which I'm going to be in the building as well. It's going to be the Survive Hunger 2nd Annual Black History Month Tribute. That's going to be held at the Baltimore War Memorial on North Gate Street, Saturday, February 17th from 12 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. So you could check that out. That's going to be the B&D's Baltimore Love and I Survive movement. They're hosting an apartment hour.
Shaw Corey, correct?
It's going to be a fine dining event.
You know about it.
We're going to also celebrate our beloved B. Gaddy during that festivity. So, you know, let's check that out.
That's what's up. So this has been another edition of the Artist Exchange. She'll have more events. She's going to be posting more about upcoming events. So send us your upcoming events with tickets if you want us to promote it.
You know.
Just saying. But we'll be back tomorrow. We're having our first Maker Series tomorrow. We'll be making mini zines with Mr. AJ Hayes. And we have an artist before him in the first hour, Mr. Latrell Moore. So stay tuned for that. 12 p.m. tomorrow, sharp. Up next, It Is What It Is radio show. Peace out.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
The Artist Exchange radio show.